Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Let's Talk session. And guys, today I have a question for you all. So, do you compare yourself to other people's life, which makes you feel inadequate or dissatisfied with your own life? Do you get stressed out and annoyed by what you see? Are you not able to enjoy whatever you are doing without posting it anywhere and checking continuously how many likes do you get? Or do you find yourself checking all your profiles first thing in the morning and the last thing in the night? If yes, then you definitely need a solution to this. And this is exactly what we are going to talk about with Mr. Sanjay Desai in today's session. Mr. Desai is a CEO and a founder of Consciously and an alumnus of I Am Bangalore. He is a corporate professional turned entrepreneur with over 30 years of experience in the world of banking, finance, and technology. His most notable success being the founder of Orion Pro that stand at $100 million turnover. Isn't this a huge number? I mean, wow, sir, that is really a big number. Then he has also written a wonderful book, Jasmine Builds on Shifting Sands, which is a unique self-help fiction offering. Sir is now guiding others on how the pursuit of happiness and success dreams can be boosted by cultivating self-awareness and well-being through his latest venture, Consciously. Today, with us, he will be shedding light on our subconscious tendencies in relation to our social media habits and ways in which we can realign our focus. And will help us understand how to set boundaries and use social media effectively and efficiently and achieve work-life balance. So, isn't this topic very really interesting in today's world? I'm sure you guys are looking forward to it. So, all your doubts and queries can be posted in the comments box. And let's start this session.
Yeah, sure.
So, Mr. Desai, I would like to just talk a little bit about your journey. How did you come to get on this idea, and how did you started on working on this topic and helping others?
Shalini, that's a long story, but let me make it short. So, throughout my corporate career as well as my entrepreneurship, which incidentally about like 15 years, as like all of us, we all go through our ups and downs. Right. And fortunately for me, somehow out of I developed some spiritual interest, and that also kept developing. And then in parallel to this whole material journey that you spoke about, I also had a fairly intense spiritual life. But the biggest thing that I learned is that spiritual and material are actually quite integrated. Whereas, the common myth is that, they're separate. And like if you become spiritual, you go become a Baba, etc. Right. But my learning was that, these are really integrated. And it's actually the real motivation why I felt that I need to do something about it. Because more and more, as one goes through ups and downs and as one deals with life, one realizes that one can bring in some good things out of spirituality into your material life. Correct. Then your life can actually become much more fulfilling and much more conscious. True. So, in a way, my hero was Carl Jung, who was not considered as spiritual. But, he said something very touching. He said that, when we don't accept our unconscious tendencies, subconscious tendencies, we meet them in life as events. And we call it fate, but that is not fate. That is something that, you brought forth in life to meet yourself. Now, of course, this is a very, very deep statement. But I was really motivated by that, what he's saying is really right. It kind of resonated with me. And therefore I said, can I set up a platform to actually relate this? The challenge, of course, is that it is such a serious topic. And, the moment you say subconscious tendencies, everybody wants to run away. So, so in Consciously, our challenge is, how can we make it more and more relatable to people's lives? So that, we can help that process of integration.
Great, sir. So that I believe that's how conscious sleep is helping a lot of people in getting a better life, and that was really an inspiring journey. Shall we start with the session, sir?
Go ahead.
Audience, please post your comments and questions in the comment box. Uh, so social media has become such an essential part of our lives in the day-to-day life. Now, not just our social lives, but even businesses thrive on social media these days. So social media has become the primary corridor of influence too in current times, challenging traditional media actually. So would you agree to that?
I completely agree, Shalini. How can we survive today without social media, right?
Correct.
And it's interestingly, it actually started as a technology sharing platform, when this whole technology revolution was happening and everything was going viral in 90s. And first everybody got attracted to it, because of this wonderful thing of sharing. It's kind of, it reminded me of old college days where there used to be notice board, and only when you go to the notice board, okay, do you really know what is happening? Okay, but every social media post is like, it's an online notice board, and ping, your phone goes every time somebody puts something on it. So it's almost like, you are able to live virtual lives along with your friends, families, whoever who is there on your platform.
Right.
So therefore, I think that is the reason it's really mushroomed. And it's very human. Okay, the human tendency is to share, and we all actually want to share. We all want to share our lives. Okay, we also want validation. In the past, we only used to get it from our families and close friends, but now you mentioned that we all want to see our likes.
Right.
So actually, in a way, we are actually seeking that validation and getting validation. That actually gives us a lot of emotional fulfillment, which is actually a great strength of social media platform. So I think many of these, and then of course there's so many other benefits, right? It can help us to feel inspired when we look at others. Yeah, of course the reverse is also true. It all depends on us, right? And we can keep abreast of everything, what is happening. In difficult times, like, as we all saw during COVID, etc., social media platform becomes so critical because, the time to send out a message, to look for resources, look for something that you need, it really gets compressed. So, coming from the generation that I come, okay, I'm in my 50s, I think this is such a tremendous improvement, over the kind of lives, we used to live. So I think, and therefore social media is becoming more and more important to us. Absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely, sir. So as we see, there are positive sides and some negative sides of the social media. But as you rightly said, that it depends on us how we use it. Right. So, sir, in parallel, however, there are increasing voice for social media detox, what we are listening these days. So this seems to mean that social media influence is also causing harm, as you mentioned. So what are some of these important limitations of social media we can talk?
Yeah. Now, this question looks very easy question, and honestly, I can list down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But then I think that the interview will come to an end.
Yeah, definitely.
No, I'm just joking.
But we need to know, sir, how effectively and badly it can affect also.
Yeah. So I think all of us have become aware over the last few years that social media has started affecting our mental health. So what I would like to do is I would like to dwell on 3 primary influences that I see is actually affecting all of us, and I very strongly believe that we really need to do something about it.
Okay.
The first one is the sole sense of reactivity. Let me explain that further. Okay, now, I mentioned earlier that, when we share, we get validation, right? Now, when we share, we may get validation, we may not get validation, right? Also, everybody spends so much time on social media. There are also some etiquettes, right? When somebody posts something, it's courteous to do a like, okay? So I guess over the years, we tend to go by likes, okay? It gives us a little bit of validation. But honestly, the whole question is, are these likes superficial, or, do they really mean something? Yeah, and I think all of us are facing that. Okay, so can I go by that? Can I, if I want validation, okay, and we could get misled there, because, we may get lots of likes, but, it may mean nothing.
Correct.
Okay, and conversely, we may not get likes, okay, because somebody didn't like what we said, but maybe it is true. So, this is happening, right? We also begin getting influenced by what others think. And I think more and more that is becoming very dominant. We also get influenced by how much validation others get. So, these are all subconscious tendencies. It perhaps comes from our childhood, when we compare ourselves with our siblings, etc., etc. And therefore, all of these things actually subtly start affecting us. Now, of course, first, when you're celebrities, etc., you also get a lot of negative validation, right?
Right.
You get trolled, and it's such a tough life for celebrities.
Celebrities, yes.
Yeah. So, in a way, everything has become very amplified. All the reactivity has become very amplified. Okay, let me give you an example. It's a very simple example. I think a lot of people, most of you would have watched this movie Sandesh, Shah Rukh Khan. Okay?
Yes.
And I can't help but think of this particular scene where the one of the main actors, she wants to set up a school, okay, and then they all go to this village panchayat meeting, okay, and very systematically, the village panchayat is moving, and they're taking an issue one by one, right? And everybody has kind of come prepared for what their topic is, right? So they've spent time, they've come prepared, etc., right? Now, okay, let me come to current times. So they were basically issues, okay, connected to a neighborhood, okay, which they were actually discussing and sorting out like this, right? Now, I mean, don't laugh, but let's say I'll take my society itself. Okay, I hope none of my society is here. Okay, now if somebody comes, okay, and of course we have one society WhatsApp group, okay, and let's say that somebody came and managed to park, some visitor managed to park the car, into our society. Okay.
Correct.
And then off everything starts. The person who's affected will first say, major reaction, how can somebody do this? Okay. Then somebody will jump in and say that, I've always been saying that this watchman or security is not good. Okay. Then somebody will jump in and say that, oh, we need to change our security. Okay. A fourth person will jump in and say that, I've always been saying that the number of people we have for security is so inadequate, etc., 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 right? So a small thing, okay, it has become, such a big thing, right? As making a mountain of a mole, right? And so it's the whole thing is amplified, right? All that has happened is somebody's gone and wrongly parked the car, but the whole thing gets amplified. Everybody's minds get affected. Everybody becomes reactive. Everybody feels angry, upset, so on and so forth. Yeah. So this is what I mean by amplified reactivity. Okay. And of course, this is one small example, local example I've given. And I think all of you know everywhere what is happening in social media. And it's a national or international level also. Right. So I feel one of the things is that we all tend to become much more reactive. than earlier. And we are reacting at, every single thing. Okay, so that's one. Number two thing is really related to how the social media platforms are designed. Okay, and here I'm actually speaking about us becoming very addictive. Okay, now these social media platforms, the way they're designed, okay, they are vying with each other to keep you and me on the same platform, right? They're competing with each other.
Right.
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 And therefore, the way they've designed the platforms, yeah, what is happening is they want you to stay there.
Right.
Okay. And, there is this whole hormonal release. I'm going into little detail. Okay. But for example, when we have stress, okay, our body releases cortisol, okay, which is a stress hormone. Okay. Basically, what cortisol does is it gives you a little bit of sugar rush to be able to manage, that stress. But then later on, it actually impacts you, right? Similarly, when you get a lot of likes, okay, there is the happiness hormone, okay, that gets released, right? And so now when you're in social media, okay, this whole thing of feeling good, feeling bad, feeling good, feeling bad, okay, our hormones get released up and down, up and down, up and down, okay, and we get emotionally hooked. It's literally like watching some, family drama on TV, okay.
True, and these days, though, I guess we are getting option of putting that emotion also, that you are feeling good, you are feeling happy, something like that.
Good one. So, so we are actually then getting into emotional rights, right? Now, have we ever been trained, okay, to manage our emotions? Right? I mean, somehow, I call this life skills. And somehow, okay, for various reasons, which you can't go into now, okay, while everybody talks of EQ and emotional quotient, okay, but self-management, okay, self-awareness, managing my own emotions is not something that has been there in our routines. Okay, and we are being subject to so much emotions up and down, up and down, up and down. Okay, that's the second thing that is happening. Add to this whole thing, okay, there is a whole scroll baiting, right? So because the platform does not want you to leave the platform, right, they will always trigger some notification, okay, try to put you, make you stay there. I mean, classic examples is, of course, YouTube and Facebook. You watch some video and it'll give you 10 other videos they want you to watch, right? And in this scroll baiting, we don't realize how much time we actually go and end up spending on social media platforms.
True.
And we are doing that emotionally, right? So things just kind of get aggregated more and more. Yeah. So this whole thing, I call it, the whole impact of addictiveness. Now, the third impact, main impact, everybody knows about, okay, and subtly, it's a very important impact. Okay, so everybody, this whole term FOMO has come out, right? Fear of missing out. Okay. You also mentioned that when you introduced social media.
Yeah, right.
So, because we are on social media, you see, some friend who's on some holiday, and, you say, oh, I wish I was there. And, somebody who gets some prize, somebody who gets something, etc., etc. So, this whole thing of missing out something, okay, is plays on our mind. Okay. And what that is doing is that goes and impacts our self-esteem. Okay, somewhere we start feeling inadequate. Very, very subtle. Okay, and then when we feel inadequate, okay, it actually goes and impacts our self-esteem. Okay. When it goes and impacts our self-esteem, our confidence levels go down. Okay, our will goes down, and it's like a pack of cards. The whole house, it can go down. So, if you combine all these three, okay, reactiveness, okay, amplified reactivity, if you combine that with the whole impact of addictiveness, okay, and you also combine that with FOMO and impact on self-esteem, I mean, put them all together and you can see, how much impact there is on different mental health conditions, right? People feel much more anxious now, okay, than before. Going to a psychiatrist for depression, okay, has become so common. It's almost impacting every household. And people have become, paranoid, much more frequently than before. So all of these, to my mind, okay, moods, fluctuations, okay, all of these are kind of collateral impact of social media. So yeah, sounds very serious, but then I have right now put down only the three main ones actually.
Okay, so these are just, I think, just a glimpse of the problems and the important problems what we have talked about. But I think there are more implications to that, right? Oh, sure, sure, sir. So so considering, as you mentioned, that these are the three important limitations and how can it affect? So considering such deep limit implications of social media on our lives, it feels like we all need to build some protection, right? Because these problems are there because social media is there, so these problems are there. So how like protection has to be there against this negative impact of social media. So what can we do to detox?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and you're absolutely right. We need to build a shield around us.
Right, right.
Okay, because we saw that social media is a very much part of our lives now. Okay, it's not going away anywhere.
Right.
And whatever problem that comes from it, okay, some people will call it the karma.
Right.
We have to deal with it. And we have to engage with it. We can't run away from it. We can't run away to a shell and say that I will remain disinfected from social media. All that is not feasible, okay, if you want to live a full life. So yeah, so the whole question is, okay, what can we do? Okay, now I will answer this in two ways. This again reminds me of one metaphor or comparison. Okay, it's like riding on a tiger. Okay, when you ride on a tiger, you can feel very good, right? Very strong and very good, right? But then you also have to deal with the tiger.
True.
Right? Now, how do you deal with the tiger? Correct. That is the real question that you're asking. Okay.
Correct.
Riding on the tiger. Now, how do I deal with the tiger? Right. So one aspect of that whole thing is, first of all, you have to build your shield, okay, against the tiger's aggression. Right? If the tiger became reactive, okay, you're eaten now. Okay. So how do you build that shield around yourself? That is one aspect of it. The second aspect of it is taming the tiger. Okay, how do you tame it? Right? Of course, if you start, the better you tame the tiger, okay, the less the first aspect will need to be, because then the tiger is under your control. So this is really what we are actually facing for social media. Yeah. Let me cover some tangible aspects for the first one. Okay, as to how do we build a shield ourselves, because we can't start taming the tiger immediately.
Right. Right.
We're already riding it, right? Yeah. So one simplest things, okay, that I have seen very determined people do, okay, is first thing they do is they switch off all notifications. Okay? For example, I also do that. Okay, I don't get any notifications from any social media platform. Yeah, first thing I do is switch them off. But I understand that it's very, very tempting, because you want to stay in touch, right? You want to share, you want to know what's happening. So once again, there it's a bait, right? Every time the app will prompt you, hey, shall I start off your notifications? So you have to be strong and say, no, I don't want to start the notifications. Yeah,
And
this is
that will be on the top of the app. Right.
yeah. So this is, I think, the first and perhaps the easiest one, okay, in terms of shielding ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah? Secondly, what some people do very successfully is that use the social media engagement as kind of break times. Okay, so during your day, you want to take breaks, and you can actually go and catch up on your social media during those break times, right? And I think that's also a very, very good way of doing it, because but then of course needs a lot of discipline. So these are two easy ways, is what I would say. Okay. However, let's remember that most of us are on social media because we want that emotional fulfillment. Okay. Also, to be honest, as we go about doing our work during the day, okay, there are times when we feel bored. Okay, we are on this work from home videos all day, and this person keeps talking. Right. The meetings go on and on, and we need some distraction, right? And with a phone in our hand, what better distraction than social media? So now that is the reality, right? So let's call it kind of mini breaks. Distraction is not a great word. Yeah. So if you think that you're of a nature that who needs that, right, and who actually gets emotional fulfillment out of it, I think what is very important for these people is that they have to become mindfully very aware of the impact the social media is having on them, right? And there are two primary things. Okay, one is the time they end up spending because they went there, right? And number two is the whole impact that they have on emotionals, ups and down. Okay, when they go for that mini break, because simplest thing is okay, you have a meeting going on, or you got a meeting break of 5 minutes, and you go to social media, and you hear something, or you look at something that either makes you very angry or makes you very depressed. Okay, that impact is going to come into your next meeting. Okay, and then you're not able to focus, and you're not able to concentrate, and you're not able to really be with that other person with whom you're having the meeting. Yeah. So these are the kind of dangers. So therefore, I would say that, okay, if you want to do that, become very mindful. Okay, and there are some good ways of becoming mindful. Start watching, how every post is actually impacting your emotions. How do they go up and down? Okay, it's all a matter of practice. Yeah. I mentioned earlier that we are not trained for emotional management and emotional resilience, but it's all a matter of practice. If you start actually doing that, it is possible to do that. After all, successful people, it's not that they keep away from social media, right? But what they've done is, they've made themselves very resilient. Like, they don't get affected by, what is happening. Correct. And I've seen that in most senior people and most successful people. In fact, as a kid, or as a junior person, when I used to work with my organization, and I would see that everything is very serious, okay, with bosses and meetings and all that. And the next minute, some of these bosses could be like completely free and playful with you and have fun. So, if you can actually develop that kind of management of yourself, correct, okay, then that is definitely a big shield that you can actually develop against the social media impact. Correct. One more thing I wanted to cover was many times nowadays, especially for example, Shalini, I noticed that even your WhatsApp number is a business WhatsApp number, right? Correct. So in these platforms, where, business and personal both get merged, right? And WhatsApp doesn't give any way to figure, okay, which is business and which is individual. And let's say, if you're actually dealing with that, where you have to be on WhatsApp because, you get your work related stuff on WhatsApp. What can you do about it, right? Ideally, I feel organizations should move to, non WhatsApp kind of platforms. I'm sorry, nothing against WhatsApp, but But I think, you know, if work and personal is kept separate, that will definitely help in shielding.
Right.
But if you don't have a choice, as you know, typical entrepreneurs probably don't have a choice. They have to go by whatever their clients say, right? And then again, we are back to, okay, how well can you manage your responsiveness to social media? Yeah. So I think it all actually then comes down to that, training yourself, you know, to become mentally resilient. Yeah. There's one last thing which I think is very critical, okay, and which it doesn't matter, okay, what platform, etc., etc. And this is, you know, incorporating into your daily life, okay, some rejuvenation, you know, yoga, meditation, exercise, music, you know, whatever you like, okay, whatever activities, okay, which can actually help you mentally wash yourself, okay, so that you get rejuvenated. In a way, you know, we all do that, okay, but what happens is, this happens with me also, okay, once my work is over, okay, I go and switch on Netflix, okay, and Netflix, you know, there'll be some thriller and, you know, some violence, and once again I'm on my emotional ride, up and down, up and down, up and down, right? And then, you know, I already had emotional rides during the day, and then I have an emotional ride, you know, using Netflix, and then, you know, finally at night, okay, I want my sweet to kind of take care of all the emotions, okay, and I've landed with a porch, you know. So so I think if we can introduce, I mean, ideally 2 times, you know, some amount of breaks, okay, where we do some, you know, rejuvenation, you know, activities which appeal to us and which we will want to do, okay? Because, you know, impose something on yourself and, you know, that doesn't happen, okay? I'm a big believer in that. So you have to voluntarily want to do something, enjoy doing something. And if that can help us, you know, wash out all the, if I may say, kachra, you know, that is not accumulated.
Right.
Okay, I think that is a bigger shield that, you know, you can have to at least worsen, you know, prevent the worsening of the impact of social media, really.
Right.
So, long answer. Okay. Now, this, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was saying, so that's long, it is long, but we now are getting what it can have, like, how can it impact our lives? We are doing it on the daily basis, and we are not realizing how is it impacting our lives mentally and physically and everything. But now with your answers, we can relate to some or the other events, and we can relate how is it impacting and doing it to our lives.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah. So you're saying that now you see the tangible benefit of doing those things.
Right, sir, right.
Right. So it's actually become must. You know, if you're on social media, you must do, you know, half an hour of yoga, you know, that kind of stuff.
Right. So, sir, you mentioned as how to detox that, but as you rightly mentioned that you mentioned that this is not as easy as it sounds. So, most of us want to follow a life of passion, but we are not clear about it, right? We are not clear about what we want and how we go about it. So, there is also a lot going on which makes it difficult to achieve and maintain this.
Yeah.
Maintain a state of mental well-being in pursuing our goals.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah, so actually you
how
brought
can
me to the second part. You know, remember I didn't cover taming the tiger.
right, sir, right.
Okay, so this is really the taming the tiger part. Okay, now if you notice that there's some people, okay, especially you know, achievers around you, okay,
Right.
and I for one don't like to think of achievers as celebrities, okay, because the truth is I believe that achievers are all around you, okay,
Right.
and if you see what they do is that when they're pursuing, you know, their work passionately, okay, they don't even remember social media, okay.
Right.
And it's not just about achievers, okay, but even all of us, okay. Let's say if some event happened, okay, it's not a nice example to say, but let's say if somebody fell sick and got hospitalized, okay, or let's say that we have an urgent project that came up, which is very challenging and I have to deliver it within a week. Okay, during such times, okay, when we actually passionately rise up, to meet that occasion, okay, to fulfill that need, do we need to ask ourselves, do we remember social media at all? Right? Where does it disappear? Right? So the point is that, in a way, okay, there is a certain emptiness that we try to fill, with our social media engagement. Okay, but if we are doing something, okay, that we are passionate about, okay, if we are doing something that has a lot of meaning, okay, then social media becomes unimportant. Right? So, if you think of social media that has become, this monster, okay, and it is domineering us in our day-to-day lives. If you visualize that, can I become that domineering personality so that social media becomes very small part of my life?
Right.
I think this is the crux of, taming the tiger.
Right.
Okay, because the tiger has become big, so I become bigger than the tiger.
Right. Right.
Now, the way to become bigger than the tiger is really, if we do something that we love, okay, if we do something that we're passionate about, if we have a purpose to follow, then, automatically we use our potential to actually bring out the best in us.
Right.
And then, these things actually become unnecessary.
So, sir, we totally agree to you, but as you are a part, you are actually guiding others. So, we would also like to know how can consciously help people in this.
Yeah, that's a good point. So in conscious sleep, what we've done, just before going to conscious sleep, I just want to complete one more point, okay, which is, we need to realize that success and social media somehow, okay, are kind of interrelated. Okay. And let me just explain quickly in 2 minutes how. Okay.
Sure.
One is, if you are pursuing a path of success, okay, the biggest thing that is needed for success is focus.
Right.
And when we are focusing, okay, it is social media that can come and distract us. Okay, now how do you sustain focus? Okay, it's typically your will. Okay, you want to sustain focus. Only then you have to have the will to sustain focus. Right? Now, there again, okay, media can come and deflate your will. Okay, it will say, oh, so and so happened. Okay, there is so and so flood, there is so and so earthquake. And suddenly you'll feel, oh, what's the point in me doing whatever I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. Right? So, so in many ways, okay, almost every element of success, okay, social media can actually be very detrimental to us. But conversely, okay, if you're actually pursuing a path of success, yeah, then you can actually use social media. You can use social media to get your resources. You can use social media to get your validation. You can use social media, to collaborate. So it's really like if we take social media and try and sync it with our success journey, okay, I think that's again one more great way of taming the tiger.
Yeah, right.
And that is where I want to bring in conscious sleep. Yeah. So in conscious sleep, basically, what we've done is we've taken this whole journey of success, okay, broken it up into its different elements.
Okay.
And primarily what happens is that in any journey of success, while consciously we are all walking towards and working towards the goal, and we want to manifest and, achieve that goal, subconsciously there are lots of things which are actually acting against us. Okay, it's simple things like, as I said, will deflation, my will got deflated. Okay. Even simpler things like fear. Okay, a lot of us have fear. Okay, a lot of us may feel inadequate. Okay, a lot of us may feel that my mood is just not there. Right. So if you actually go into the journey, okay, these are all things that are actually coming and sabotaging the journey at various stages. So at conscious sleep, what I've done is I have charted out all the elements of the journey, okay, and charted out, what all could come and actually become hurdles for us, okay, and all of this to make a path, make a roadmap towards success. Because once you actually go and do that, then you realize that success is really in your hands, okay, and you can be in charge of your success. And I think that is the single biggest thing to realize. Okay, I can talk to you about an hour about taking charge, okay, but it's not possible to realize that unless you actually go and chart out your own roadmap. Okay, what are my dreams? Okay, what are my goals? What are my mental hurdles? How will I overcome my mental hurdles, so on and so forth. So all of these things we've actually encapsulated, okay, in what we call as Make You Happen framework. Okay, and from this framework, we are actually generating different products. So we have a lot of content. Right. We can send a link of our website, okay, which help people, through their journey of success. We also have very interesting products which are self-reflecting. So what we've done is Success Journey, we have actually integrated with self-awareness as well as hurdle management.
Okay.
So, we naturally, come to wellness. So, how can you have a wellness integrated, self-aware success journey is what this is all about. Okay. And from that, we have e-courses, which people can take. We have masterclasses. We are just coming up with coaching products, and we have certified coaches to actually help you along, chart out your success journey so that, you can do. We are actually creating an app. So there are multiple products we are actually making out of this whole thing. You refer to the book, actually. I also written that book exactly for this reason. Jasmine was on Shifting Sands.
Yeah, we would like to know something about that as well.
So I wrote it, it's like a user manual to success. Okay. Oh, okay. So Jasmine, but it's written in a fiction form. So Jasmine is just a young girl who actually, gets into the world of fashion and how she actually faces her ups and downs. Okay, as she goes through her ups and downs, she starts realizing that these ups and downs are related to her own actions and subconscious actions. Okay, and she has some people who come in their life who actually help her along the way as guides, and how she actually evolves and grows and becomes successful. So through this journey, what we brought out is all the elements of a success journey that anybody would go through. Okay. So that is what the book is about, actually. Yeah.
Great. So
yeah, we've done one more thing, unique thing with the book. Yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot that. Sure. Is within the book we have inserted e-courses.
Okay.
So, for example, when Jasmine is going through a journey, okay, let's say suppose if she had a failure, right? Then we have an e-course at the end of that chapter, okay, which is with a barcode, really, or which you can actually scan, and it can take you to the e-course, and the e-course is about decoding failures. Yeah. Oh. So it's actually we've interspersed some very interesting courses into the book. So I would actually recommend it. That's the reason I wrote the book. That it should be. Initially I thought I'll do it for entrepreneurs, honestly, because I was an entrepreneur, and as an entrepreneur I know that you normally don't have anybody to turn to, okay, when you face hurdles. But when I wrote the book, and people have realized, and especially the whole millennial generation, okay, feels very identified with it, because they all have to walk a much more difficult path, okay, than my generation actually walked. Mm-hmm. And we got an Amazon rating of 4.3 out of 5. So
great.
So I think it's really a success user manual.
That actually, the story what you told us in brief actually sounds very interesting, and I'm sure I'm going to read that. I'm sure many of us are going to read, and after the session we will be sharing the links on the in the comment box for our audience also to view and read the book, also about the website of conscious sleep and other details of conscious sleep. So sir, we also have some questions from the audience. Would like to take up those. So the first question is: social media just a heavy digital use, or it is a real addiction?
Yeah, as I answered, it feels like a heavy digital use. Okay, but there's so many subtle ways by which, and you can't blame somebody. I don't believe in blaming anybody, but, for their own business reasons, social media platforms have things. The audience must be familiar with gaming, okay? And, there are lots of books on gaming, right?
Mm.
And the crux of a successful game is, how much of emotionals up and down you can actually create. Short-term gratification, emotional high, emotional low. Okay, that is how a game is made. In fact, there are enough books. And using the same principle, in fact, most of the apps are made. Okay, because the whole business objective of an app or any social media platform is how to keep you on the platform. And that, of course, affects us because, we are made that way. Okay, we can't help but secrete our hormones. We can't help but go through ups and downs. So as I said, we can't blame one party. Okay, but the truth is now that this is there, okay, the real question is, how can you protect yourself?
Right.
Yeah.
So that is the major aspect, that it will happen, but how to protect it. Right. So moving on the next, I think I guess she got her answer. Moving on to the next question. Social media validation is very important in the young millennials. In your opinion, is it harmful? I think that has been answered, and because
No, I don't mind. Well, I don't mind adding to it, okay, because
yeah,
I feel very strongly about it.
yeah.
And once again, I want to present the full picture because I don't think we can blame young millennials. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it is very natural, okay, as children, as adolescent, to want a lot of attention. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is that all our lifestyles have become such, right, that when we don't get that attention, okay, we actually go and seek it on social media. Okay. Now, social media kind of gives us some kind of a privacy. Okay. Now, if I am a kid and I have to go and confront my parent or my teacher or a senior person, I would think 10 times about it. Okay. But when I have this whole thing of privacy because technology has come in, okay, I would not, it actually gives me a way out to actually go and do it. Okay. And we all know that, end of the day, kids want to become adults. They do everything that we do as adults. It's just that their world is different. Okay. And they figure out their own solutions of how to do it. So we can't say that they should not get attention. Of course, they need to get attention. But yeah, it has very serious ramifications because then they get so used to getting that attention that they don't want attention from their parents and teachers. And then there is this whole divide, that is actually happening. We speak to schools frequently, and there's this whole divide. Okay, and I'm sorry to say, but here comes Google. Okay, and if as a kid I have any question, okay, Google says that it gives the expert advice, right? And it's not just kids. Okay, it's also older millennials, right? And without knowing where that advice has come, etc., we tend to believe the written word. Okay, if somebody says I'm an expert, okay, we tend to believe it. And that has actually increased the divide because we then don't go to our parents, we don't have guides, right? Like in my young age, okay, we wanted guidance, we would go to our teachers, professors. Yeah, we don't like some teachers, we like some teachers. but we would go to them. Okay, now, that connect is getting lost, and that is the serious aspect actually of this.
People have started thinking that Google has all the answers and the best answers and advice.
Yeah.
So that's the reason, I guess. Sure.
Yeah.
So, sir, how can we avoid being affected? Has been asked by someone.
I don't think you can avoid being affected. That's the honest answer. Unless, unless, as I said, you become mentally resilient, become emotionally resilient. And yeah, there are lots of things. In fact, I think it's become absolutely essential nowadays, okay, whether it is for social media or whether it is for managing your own lifestyle or even to pursue a journey of success. As the AI age comes in, we're going to have so many changes. And it's not going to be easy for us to have an easy life or a stable life without becoming mentally and emotionally resilient. So I think this is the biggest need of the hour, whether to manage for social media or even to manage life actually. Yeah.
True. So are we also becoming less tolerant, more reactive in the socially connected world?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think I touched upon that. We're definitely becoming far more reactive. Because, the whole emphasis on kind of putting your like fast, okay, or putting your comment fast. Okay. And, when somebody gives you that opportunity, then you want to express yourself, right? You're not to blame, but, it's a natural thing to want to express yourself. But you see, immediate expressions, okay, typically are reactions. We make a difference between reactiveness and responses at conscious sleep, and it's nothing unique to us, all over. And therefore, we don't think and respond. Okay, we react, and that actually, when one reacts, it is the other person will react. It's very infectious. So yeah, you're very right. Reactivity is really gone up, and because of that, tolerance is also gone up, and intolerance is also gone up. Also, once again, for their own business reasons, I think all of us know that social media keep pushing things in your feed, okay, that you get engaged with. The algorithms are made that way, and therefore we don't get to see the other side of it. We only get to see one side of it because that is engaging, and that is also making us much more intolerant.
Sure. So how much of social media is enough? When can we say we are addicted to it?
I think you're the best judge. If you find yourself, and this is where self-awareness really comes in. If you find yourself that, you can't get away, give yourself 5 minutes. Okay, see if you can do it for 5 minutes. Or if you want to start low, give yourself 1 minute. Okay, and see if you can do it for 1 minute. Like, get out of social media platform. Right? I think these will give you answers yourself, whether, you're addicted or not, actually.
Okay. And how can we use social media constructively?
Yeah. I believe you can. I think that if you're on your journey, okay, of positivity, okay, and doing something meaningful in life and meaningful to you, okay, you will automatically figure out ways of using social media constructively. Whether it's by sharing, collaborating, asking for help. There are lots of ways social media can be used so constructively. Yeah. But as I said, first you need to kind of build your shield. And yeah, ideally everybody should go and, tame that tiger. Yeah.
That metaphor of taming the tiger and all, the story of that tiger has been liked by many of the audience here. And I think we are done with the questions of the audience, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Mr. Desai, for taking out time today for us and giving us this opportunity to know about the limitations also of the social media, which I think most of us are not aware of. And I think, wonderful insights on how to set ourselves free from the addiction of social media. So that actually is very much beneficial.
Yeah.
Yes, you were saying.
Thank you, Red Bricks. In fact, and thank you very much to the audience. I can't see them, but I think it's been a pleasure. And yeah, I mean, I myself love sharing, what I understand. So you really actually helped me get fulfillment out of this session. Actually.
Well, thank you so much once again, sir, for coming on board with us to give us a wonderful insights on all these things and our audience.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.